Good afternoon, everybody. Terry's wandered off again on his holidays, so you got me again, I'm afraid. And today, before I show you this bit, I'll show you this bit. If you're watching Terry's last week, because he's got a bad leg, I did a little bit of olive and didn't turn the outside of this one. But obviously, in the meantime, I finished it. So I've got a rounded profile here, which I've matched on the inside. Get the camera on it. And made a nice little bowl. And as Mark said last week, with olive, you can't really go wrong. Even the shavings that you get off of olive are lovely. This week, I'm going to do a bud vase. I'm going to do it out of this bit of elm. And this I decided. And then Sunday lunchtime, Steve announced that it's box week. He did box week, which caught me by surprise because Terry didn't tell me. So I'm going to make a bud vase and I'm going to cut it in half and make a box out of it, which could be interesting. Could go badly wrong. But first I shall introduce you to my support crew.
Support?
We have
I'm not so sure about that.
we have the wonderful Ruby Claire.
Good day, everyone.
We have the masking tape challenged Mike Walt.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? And welcome.
We have the ideas to pinch artist Stephen the Wood Dude.
Hey, hi everyone.
And we have Brian.
And we have Brian.
But actually, I've got to say, I got a parcel this morning. Brian sent me these. Thank you very much, Brian.
You're welcome, mate. You're entirely welcome. Don't fit my lathe anymore.
And Brian bought his new lathe. They don't fit his lathe anymore, so I got them. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good afternoon, everybody.
Right, I'll chuck you in the background.
Best place for us, I have to say it.
I agree.
Switch the camera.
Especially that Walt fella.
Thank you.
My usual method, I've just put a portion of bit into there. And chuck that on the chuck. Find the chuck key.
A whole lot of chucks in that sentence. I'll chuck that on the chuck, find the chuck key.
Oh, by the way, did we notice the chuck? It's an SK114 with Donald doors on it.
Are they nice?
Sorry, I just
trucks,
fell
are they,
asleep then.
Pete?
Sorry.
Are they a nice truck, Pete? The SK114?
They're very nice, very nice.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard they're quite nice.
That's
Don't you start? You've got one on your lathe.
I got two.
So
Yeah,
you're
see?
doing this as a side grain then?
I'm going to do this as a side grain. I did one many years ago like this. And I've seen lots of people doing bud vases. And I remember doing this one. And I thought, yeah, let's do that one just for a laugh. But I've been
So
busy.
You got some CA glue on there, have you?
Yeah, I got some CA glue. This is just an offcut off the end, actually. Been busy processing timber this week. I've got my kiln is completely full. I've got that lot with nowhere to live. I've got some other bits as well. I've burnt an awful lot of ends of logs and stuff. But this bit was off the end of a log, and this is going to end up in the junk pile anyway, so, you know, might as well use it. So it's an experiment, really. Right, so turn my lathe speed down, bring it up to not fast. 700, I'm getting a bit of a problem at the moment. So we'll go from there. And I'll start making this round while somebody introduces you all.
Oh, things are getting bad. Even Michelle says I don't have one now.
You could do the introductions, Brian, because I haven't got
Okay.
YouTube on.
If you like, I have YouTube on. I have indeed. Let's have a quick look. Go back to the top. So we have Sid's Repurposing, Rob from Coppola Woodturning, Paul Houghton, Grease Beaturner, and Malcolm McEwen, Michelle Ousby, Well, Chris Dodds, Gav from Today Woodworks. You scroll down a bit. Yeah, the earworms, you know who's in. Michael Todd from Glen Cove Woodworks. Did I say that already? Lars with Jason. Colin Izzard. Terry Bartlett. Roger Kent. Good afternoon, Roger. From sunny Tennessee. Not so sunny here today. It's a bit overcast and cloudy. But it's nice and warm, I have to say. Just for a change. Who else have we got? Michelle Higgins is in. Doug Miller. Wood spun round. Good morning, Doug. Good afternoon from here. Wavy Woodshed. Clinton Wood Dancers. Greg Alexander. And there are currently 36 people watching, so if I haven't called out your name, stick your name in the chat and I'll give you a shout out. So I'm glad we got the whole SK114 thing over early.
Yeah, we'll come back again.
Probably. Andy the Woodwork Learners, his question, Brian. So we're not allowed to talk about new tools if you've got Michelle in the chat. Yeah, you talk about new tools if you want, Andy. Michelle doesn't control my bank account, she just monitors it.
It's a good thing you're not married to me, Brian. You'd have no money in the bank, but lots of new tools.
Now, see?
Yeah. It's got me thinking.
That mightn't be a bad thing. Hi, Amy. Amy DeAngelis is in.
Hi, Amy.
Amy wants to know how Morris is, Brian.
Maurice. Who said Morris? Who said that? It's Maurice. Maurice the mouse.
Brian, do you have a cat?
Norman Greenwell has just
No,
arrived.
I don't have. Hi, Norman.
Norman.
Welcome along, buddy. I don't have a cat.
And Bailey's Woodworks.
It's Chris from Bailey's Woodworks. Hey,
Yes.
Chris.
Okay, so we've got it round. We've got mess on the floor. We're working on this end now.
That's not a mess, Pete. That's just a little bit of shavings. That'll tidy up in
Yeah,
no
it's
time
just
at all.
shaving. I know, I spent 72
Unlike
hours
Morris.
yesterday clearing up
Yeah,
before Brian got to see it.
but that's because you spent the previous 2 days cutting up bigger lumps of timber.
I spent 4 days on that.
Mm.
I had a Jubilee beacon going here, burning all the offcuts and bark and scrap for 3 days solid.
I was thinking of employing Mike to come around and do my hoovering because I heard he's a professional.
Not anymore. I'm not, Steve. I've been overtaken
Brian,
very swiftly
you,
by Brian. Brian's the clean man now. I'm not.
Oh.
Yeah, and I find it much easier not being. I must be honest.
there's a
It's
little
not
branch sticking out
the-
there which was going to annoy me, so I cut it off with a saw.
That's a nice
There
piece
is
of
no
wood there,
hardship
Pete.
in cleaning your workshop immediately after finishing turning.
No.
It's easy.
I have to do it.
I do too.
I do it mostly, but sometimes I don't.
It's just laziness, Mr. Walt. Get on with it.
It is, yes,
Goodness sake.
totally. I don't deny it. Don't deny it.
Unless you're a production turner turning all day, and even good production turners will clean up at the end of their shift.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they clean up more often than that because if you drop a tool or something, you don't want to lose it in the shavings.
Absolutely.
Like I sometimes use a snow shovel to remove the shavings and put it into bags.
I use a snow shovel.
That's
If I'm
a
doing,
good
if I'm
plan.
fencing and stuff, definitely. I mean, there's just mountains of it, you know. I'm lucky though. I can take all my shavings down to an animal rescue place. And,
All right.
so they, they use it as bedding.
As long as you
Yep.
don't take them any walnut, because walnut can be very toxic for animals.
Candid.
I've only got one piece of walnut, which I got free from the guy I bought my lathe from. I don't get many exotic woods. That's why I end up colouring everything, because it's pretty bland. Pete, quick question. Is that spalted or is that just natural?
That's possibly slightly spalted, but we're just underneath the bark layer here, so can't tell until you get further in, really. The end doesn't look too spalted.
Douglas Mungham's just joined us.
Hi, Douglas.
Hi,
Good
Douglas.
I
afternoon.
hope it is lightly spalted because I've got at least a dozen bulb ranks of this.
Yeah,
Michael McEwen. Sorry, Ruby, go ahead.
I was just going to say, one thing is great about spalted wood, it can be great to look at, but to turn, it's such a thin line between really beautiful wood and just sawdust stuck together with unicorn tears or something.
Yep. Beautiful or punky is the dividing line there. Just it's.
I mean, the further spalted it is, I mean, the more, the better it looks, really.
Andy, the woodwork learner, it says, "Isn't you poisonous to animals?" It certainly is. Don't be sending you shavings to a horse yard. Absolutely not.
We don't get you over here at all, so I wish we did.
Not resin shavings either.
Brian with a Y have just joined us. Good afternoon, Brian. He says,
Brian.
"Sorry I'm late, didn't notice the time. Deeply engrossed in my latest piece in the workshop." What is it, Brian? What are you turning?
Michael made a good point that having lots of shavings on the floor to stand on is actually good for your feet and legs and back.
That's hence the rubber mat at Pete's lathe, and I have a rubber mat on my lathe.
I do
It's
too.
a huge difference.
Yeah, if you want a really good option to get a cheap mat, go to your local kindergarten, and they have loads of them. And after a while, they get so dirty they can't use them, and they throw them away.
Yeah, exactly the same thing, just bright colours.
Yeah, I've got mine's pink and blue.
Oh, you'd look good in pink, Stephen.
I stopped wearing pink when I started turning wood, just in case,
The woodworm Paul's in. Good
Paul.
afternoon, Paul.
So is this the secret to your colouring genius, Stephen?
What, not wearing pink?
No, the fact that you have multicoloured flooring just inspires you.
No. It's just like I said, if I get a really nice piece of wood, which is few and far between, because most of the wood I get is basically the wood that nobody wants, is firewood. So I get the wood from the tree surgeons, or I find it, and I haven't got much of an option. You get a piece of ash that just looks like yesterday's custard, and you just cover it in paint. Well, that's my excuse anyway. Ooh.
I find that if you get a really nice piece of wood that's got a lot of beautiful grain in that, I don't want to color it because the wood itself is too pretty.
Yep.
Yeah, but like I said, Ruby, I just don't get very nice wood. Most of the wood I get is literally firewood.
I try not to colour nice pieces of wood, but
I mean, you can if you get I've got some maple, and some of that has got some nice quilting and some nice banding in it, and that looks quite nice coloured. But like I said, if you've got a beautiful piece of, I don't know, walnut, you probably wouldn't want to colour it.
I'll cut far enough into this now to say yes, it is spalted.
Yeah, I can see it from here. It does look a bit. I've been spalting a lot of wood myself. So once I get like a cherry spalted, I'll cut a piece off, stick it on top, put it on the ground, and cover it over. Come back after a couple of months, and each spalting, it really depends on the wood. Like I tried to use spalted cherry on horse chestnut, didn't work. But the horse chestnut I've got spalted now. Next time I got some horse chestnut, I'll just put those spalted pieces on it, stick it under the hedge or on the common, cover it over with leaves, and try and remember to go and find it again in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Mark Strong joined us, guys. Good afternoon, Mark. Where's Jennifer today, I wonder?
Most of this timber that I just processed, it was lockdown timber. So it was cut when I couldn't collect it. So it was just left lying. And then once lockdown lifted, I went and rounded it up in the van. And it's been there for 2 years. So it's partly seasoned, partly spalted. There was quite a bit of waste because when I couldn't go and fetch it, the people that give it to me, I told them to cut it longer so that there's room to crack on the ends.
Yeah, that's the usual problem with tree surgeons. They just want to cut it in the smallest pieces, and so they can pick it up, throw it in the van, and leave it.
Well, I find their small pieces are just nice size for me to pick up.
I would have thought you'd have your toy boys there.
Sometimes.
Ward Wilson's joined us all the way from the west coast of Arizona. Good
Malcolm
afternoon, Ward.
Douglas has joined us as well. Welcome,
Hi, Malcolm.
Okay, spin this one around.
I've had occasion to come home and found large logs about 3 feet high and maybe the same diameter sitting in front of my garage. And I've asked my husband where they came from. And he said, some guy in a truck said you really needed these and he dropped them off.
Yeah.
So then I have to find out the color and make of the truck to figure out who left them.
Mark Stratton's asking who the extra earworm is. So we have Ruby in, we have Mike Wald, and we have myself, and we have Stephen the Wood Dude.
Hi.
Is the voice you don't recognise, Mark?
So if anybody in the chat's got any questions at all on colouring, we have
Ask me.
Ruby and Stephen, and of course Mike.
International cover.
Yeah.
Colorists.
Yeah.
I'm so glad Mike's in, just in case I get stuck.
Yeah.
Well, you never know,
Yeah.
you see. Sometimes. Go on, Ruby.
If any of you haven't seen Stephen's work, look up Stephen Madden. His pieces are exquisitely done. They're absolutely beautiful pieces of art.
Yeah,
I'll second that. Yeah.
It looks like I've got to buy a lot of people a lot of drinks.
Mike, we found something in common.
Sorry, Ruby.
We found something in common to agree on.
Yeah. It's very rare, actually, Ruby. So I shall cherish this moment.
Andy the Woodwork Learner is stirring it again.
Well, you can tell Andy that I'm going to do some embellishing wax videos just for Brian, and I'm not going to charge him.
There you go. See that?
See? We love you, even though you don't have an SK114.
I think love is a bit
Big
over
look
the
to
top
come
there,
back up
Steve.
again, doesn't it?
I had to slip that in.
Yeah, I think love is a bit stronger word.
Okay.
You can be quiet, you Welsh.
Okay.
Andy,
One
my
bit.
question is, what do you want to know about embellishing wax?
What I want to know about, well, and Billy, I want to know how to use it.
Woodwork learner, what does he want to know?
He doesn't really want to know anything about it.
The main problem that Brian has with embellishing wax is Brian's not learnt the word sparingly.
Yeah.
What's this sparingly nonsense?
He
It's
puts on
Brian,
6-inch thick layers of it and then wonders why he can't get it to polish off and stay where he wants it.
Brian, even I could use
Less is
embellishing
definitely
wax.
more with that kind of stuff. Really, put a
I've usually
tiny
kind
bit
of
on.
yes.
Your little finger. Well, I'll tell you what. Wait, we'll do the video, Brian, and then
Good man.
everything, and you will be the embellishing wax king.
Woo!
I will say one thing, Steve and Brian. If I can use it, you can use it. Okay.
Well,
Okay then.
I think
And-
part of it using it is choosing the right wood to use it on.
Yeah. That's
Like
kind of Andy's
if-
question there. He says.
Yeah, I
Andy
mean,
is saying,
ash is the best
yeah.
one. Get if you get just a very plain piece of ash, get a little brass brush, open up the grain, stain it, seal it, and then you can basically fill those grain with anything, embellishing waxes or
That's good for us here. It's not so good for Ruby because Canadian ash is different apparently.
I'm turning a piece at the moment on the lathe that actually would be excellent for using that technique.
It's just, just open the grain up. I think the Canadian ash grows a lot faster than our ash. And I mean, some of it grows quite quickly. But I got some stuff on the website, if you look, and that's quite close grained. And that works really well with an embellishing wax or chestnut products, rainbow waxes, same thing.
Do you find as well, Steve? I've had some success with oak as well.
Anything, oak's great.
Yeah.
I'm just doing some oak now, which I've basically got the grain opened up with like a wire brush, so it looks like it's sandblasted. And I got some of this stuff, Staffordshire Black. I don't know if you've ever checked it out. It's kind of like
stuff.
Yeah, but it basically works on tanning. So you have a tanning solution which you put on first. So oak has a lot of tanning anyway, but you can bring it on. And it has a very nice patina. It doesn't look like it's been painted so much. It looks like it's been weathered, if that makes sense.
Well, very good. William Kenny's joined us. And Andy's question really about the embellishing is how to use it, and more importantly, when to use it. Yeah, that's true.
I think less is definitely more. I mean, a little bit here and there. Once you start, if you make a really nice piece, it's very tempting to put too many embellishments on the piece. There's too much paint or there's too much texture, and you kind of lose the actual form. When we had Phil Irons was on with Steve the other night, and I made a comment, the form is everything. I mean, when you make even a bowl, if you look at it, take it off the lathe, you don't look at it over the lathe bed, and actually look at how it curves. That is the most important thing, the actual form. So when it comes to embellishing, you don't need to go too crazy.
I agree with you. Shape and form are everything.
I mean, if you ever look at like ceramics or glass, you actually look at the form first before you actually start looking at the, and you get classical forms like Greek forms and, Romano forms, but most of it is all about the form, which is what Peter's doing right now. You see, I'd be tempted to turn it into a really nice vase with a really flared neck and not turn it into a box, but apparently it's #box week. So
yeah, but you could do a box later in the week. He doesn't have to do a box today.
Oh, he's not under contract.
No, it's not under contract.
Okay.
Don't have to do a box.
I'm on Hobbit exclusive contract.
Really? How much do you get?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
No money?
No, we don't sort of work in money in this community. Have you not noticed that? Nobody makes money in this community.
You must
I
be the only
wondered how he
Scots
afforded
person
to
to
go
say
on
that.
holiday.
I spend more money than I earn, that's for sure. From woodturning,
Then you must
do.
be doing something wrong, Brian, because I found my wood turning pays for itself.
Ruby, the thing I'm doing wrong is I don't try and sell the stuff.
Ah,
It's all just sitting here.
So when I come and visit you, you're going to give me some pieces? Is that
You
what you're
can
saying?
take whatever you like home with you, Ruby. Whatever you like, Bet. There is a whole lot of it here. There must be.
now that
I'm just sitting looking at my shelves here. There has to be 150 pieces there.
I've got Brian, I got boxes of it, and now things
Yeah.
are starting to open up a bit more. There's more craft fairs, and there's more, art shows. I'm booked in pretty much all year, and you can. I'm not. I wouldn't say that you're going to become a millionaire, but you can definitely
No.
cover your expenditure. Tools, sandpaper.
I
Well,
have. I'm a horsemanship teacher as well, so I teach horses and people. So that kind of makes me a bit of money that I can spend on
Ah,
The
my
thing
other
is, I think if
hobbies.
you're selling your stuff, you've got to put yourself out there, make yourself available,
Got to be, yeah.
which I don't do. But that's the way you've got to promote yourself and promote your stuff.
yeah, it's very true, Mike. I mean, I for the last I've only been turning about 4 years or something, and
Mhm.
I realised after a couple of years that if people don't know who you are, they don't know what you do, and so you really
Exactly.
have,
Exactly.
yeah. But
well,
it,
you fellows are a lot luckier than we are because a lot of like the stores where I used to teach classes and places that had shows are still closed down here. In fact, we just found out that our wood show that was scheduled for the end of October has been closed and won't be happening. So it's been like 3.5 years since we've had a wood show.
yeah, no, it's tough, definitely tough. I've got more people who are interested in the kind of paint effects and some of my designs, so I've been trying to go with that a little bit more, and basically trying to go around to someone's workshop so it's their place, their tools, their lathe, and they feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
But
You
I
know,
just feel got my
Stephen, you might do well to produce a few videos that you could sell, or
yeah.
DVDs, or even books on the topic.
Well, I like I said, I'm going to do some video. I got some video lights. I'll probably get a video camera sorted out, and I'll do a practice session with Brian on embellishing waxes, and he can tell me where I'm going wrong.
So Michelle Higgins says the best thing he did to boost the form of the pieces was to buy Stuart Dye's book on classic forms.
Yes, that is a good book.
It is a very good book.
It's not a book I have to say that I've heard of, so I'm just going to look it up.
There's a thing called Internet Archive, and it's a free archive on just about everything that's ever happened on planet Earth. And they have a great ceramic section, and they have silhouettes of forms, and that's great to look at, and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything.
There's plenty of inspiration out there. I tend to use ceramic as my starting point.
Yeah,
Look at ceramic
Yeah.
shapes. Because
if you,
ceramic is better than any other medium because you can create
it's so malleable.
any
I
shape you
mean,
want in wet mud
yeah,
and then cook it and it's solid. So, and you can glue bits on and you can change it. And so ceramic does have lots and lots of different shapes and forms over the centuries, which I find quite inspiring. Okay, so I'm going to turn my lathe speed down. I'm just going to put. What I should do before I do this is measure how deep I need to go, and I thought to do that.
Roy the boy has joined us. Welcome, Roy.
Oh, Roy.
Hi, Roy.
Hi, Roy. Good afternoon.
Steve, there was a question on what your website is called.
Don't know if you've got a spanner there, have you, Stephen? Can't remember if I set it up or not. But if I haven't, Brian, can you look up the wooddude.com, I think it is.
Yep, I will do.
Don't throw your tools on the floor. Luckily, it was only a handle.
I'm just looking up this book first. So there's the link to the book that was just mentioned there, of Stuart Dale's Classic Forms. So that you can buy it on Amazon still.
Yeah, I think it's still in print.
Andy. Andy's being cheeky again, guys. He says, Brian, there's a spanner. So like, oops, always get that mixed up.
There's, I think this is Stephen's second go at earworming, and he's unlucky enough to have done it with me, and I'm not organised, so he hasn't got a spanner yet.
Yeah, I
We'll
know.
sort that out in due course.
It's okay. I'm fixing it now. Calm yourself.
I'm just trying to think if my headphones are still working.
Well, we can hear you, so.
Yeah, I just plugged them in.
Oh well, maybe that's better then.
Yeah.
Copy. Oh.
The question, Stephen, was what is your website, please?
I've got it here.
My website is wooddo.uk.
Yep.
.uk, that was it.
So you just put that into a search engine, yeah, and
there it is. Just there's the link, guys. If you want to go and have a look at Stephen's website, there it is. Pop over and have a look.
It is a work in progress, everybody.
Yeah, so is mine.
Yeah, mine too.
I've been trying to get on top of it, but it's one of those things. You build it yourself. It's pretty cheap, about 40 quid a year, 50 quid a year or something, and you can add pages. So I'll probably get a shop page put on it.
10 quid a year if you do it with me.
10 quid a year. Would you get for 10 quid a year a postcard every month or something?
No.
For 10 quid a year, you get a shared space. So you'll be, for instance, wooddude.woodturners.uk.
Okay.
And in that space, with the restriction you can't have a database on it, you can do anything you want.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
That's what I have. I have that.
What I need to do is take some photos and then update mine.
Do you know what? I've seen some great pieces of work that really need proper photography, because
that's my problem.
Yeah, if you spend time working on a piece and it looks great, and you stick it on a piece of an old pillowcase and get your phone out, you're not doing it justice.
That's what I do all the time, Stephen. I bought a little light box thing. Well, it's not so little. To try and improve the photographic quality, but I just use my phone.
Get
It's like I
yourself.
say, one of the wonderful things about these O'Donnell jaws is you can work it.
Sorry,
Down the back
did you
here.
mention O'Donnell jaws again?
Yeah, the O'Donnell jaws on the SK114. You can cut your
I
piece
don't-
and you can work all the way around it.
Is
Do
that
you
a
know
good
what?
chuck, Pete?
Being serious, I bought a pair of set of O'Donnell jaws about 3 months ago. It's a game changer. It really is. You can get all the way around to the bottom. I mean, I'm so restricted. I've learned to turn left-handed because I couldn't get where I wanted to be. So I just became ambidextrous. But with the O'Donnell jaws, it just gives you the extra couple of inches, so you can actually get right down to the foot, right down to the bottom. Anyway, enough O'Donnell and SK114s. Back to photography. Brian, get yourself a really cheap digital camera. You can get one for like 150 quid secondhand. That's what I did. And setting up the lights, it's the same thing. The backdrop as well. If you get yourself a gradated backdrop, they're about 20 quid, and they go from white into black. So how you position it, you can have it all white, or you can have the actual backdrop going into black, and then when you light it, you can really show off the quality of your work.
The other thing as well, just as a starter,
Look at that,
which
Stephen.
you can, if you just get some coloured card and bend it, don't crease it, bend it, and that is a very cheap way of starting off, and gives you
I've
a
got
very
some
good
of that, Mike.
backdrop. Yeah, it gives you a very good backdrop.
It's what we call a scoop in the photography business.
Right. Okay.
I used to be a photographer.
So Gary Glass has joined us. Good afternoon, Gary.
Hi,
Hi,
Gary.
Gary.
I'll
Hello,
talk to you later,
Gary.
Stephen, about the photography kit.
Yeah. We'll be in touch, and we'll do some video, and we can. And
Okay.
what I'll do is I'll set up my photographic piece, and I'll put the camera on it, and you can see what I'm doing.
Excellent.
I've got to say, my earworms are really bad at telling me to change camera today.
No, sure, it's fine. What's wrong with the camera?
I didn't want to
Was
speak out of
overhead,
turn.
and I was
It
doing
was
on the
fine.
end here.
Nothing
Oh, no,
wrong with it.
sometimes he just needs told, Stephen. You just have to jump in and tell him because he forgets.
I'll be one of those overbearing producers shouting at him through his headphones.
No, that's Mark's job. Mark does that.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
There was a question about the O'Donnell jaws, and I know they do make them to fit the record power chucks.
Do they? Who
No,
does?
they don't.
No.
I hate to say it, but I have the record power chucks, and I've got O'Donnell jaws for both sizes
Right. Well, where did you get them, Ruby?
from Record Power.
O'Donnell jaws? Not in this country, you can't. Well, it's
No,
not advertised on
definitely
their website anywhere.
What can I say?
Yeah, exactly. What can you say? Is this a new thing, Ruby, or you had them for a while?
No, it was fairly new.
I wonder, are they
worth a look.
just sent them out to some of the demonstrators to test them out?
Yeah, only royalty can have them. That's why
No,
Ruby's got them and you have Brian.
when I picked up the Herald, I also picked up the chucks and a set of each of the jaws.
Wow.
That's upset Brian now.
Well, I've got a full complement. I've got a full complement of record power.
Obviously not. If you haven't got the
Chucks.
O'Donnell jaws.
But there's no O'Donnell jaws on their website.
Oh, the bank balance is going to be going down, mate.
Maybe I have to switch to Axminster at that rate.
When I might be in England in September, I have an invitation to go and visit the Record Power facilities up in Sheffield.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that.
So we get to visit us as well.
Well, of course. I mean, after all. Perhaps this time I'll leave you some Blackwood.
Jennifer's Craft and Creations has just joined us. Good afternoon, Jennifer.
Hi,
Hi,
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Welcome.
She's apologised for being late.
And so
So
you
you should,
should.
Jennifer. Fancy being late. Did Mark lock you out in the garden again and make you work?
I always say better late than never.
Yeah.
So Ruby, have the jaws that you've got for the record power SC4, the O'Donnell type jaws, have they got a name or a model number
Um,
or anything?
I'd have to go down and get them out of the shop and
All right, don't do it now.
look
Sorry.
at the box.
Oh, they came in a box. Goodness gracious! See, it's just getting worse.
such luxury. Box.
Well,
What?
it's a cardboard box.
Well,
Yeah, they don't get those in Northern Ireland, Ruby.
no.
Record power.
It's wrapped in newspaper and thrown at you.
So they're wrapped in newspaper or wrapped in frozen Guinness head.
Is that a thing, Mike?
Well, it is now. It's
Frozen
going
Guinness.
to be, it's
Yeah,
going to be
well,
all the rage. All the
I'm
rage.
gonna hashtag that one.
Yeah. Frozen Guinness head.
It's
just
actually,
invented that one.
I think that's the great name for the next popular beat combo, the frozen Guinness heads.
Frozen Guinness heads. So you'll probably find somebody in Dublin called that.
William has pointed out that in the Record Power catalog, they're calling them the long nose jaws.
That's not the Donald dose. I have got the long nose jaws.
Are they like pen jaws?
No,
Yes, no,
pen jaws
no.
are different.
So
do your Ruby,
Go on,
do your jaws taper towards the front?
Yes, they do.
They do.
do they look like the ones that Pete's got on his lathe right now?
Yes.
Are they made by a company called O'Donnell?
No,
Not
No.
my knowledge.
So
I
the
already
bud
have a
bars
set of the
done.
long nose jaws, but they really are just deep gripper jaws. That's what they are.
Yeah, I
The
got
long
those.
nose jaws. I have them.
There's the bud vase done.
It's
Not
beautiful.
finished, but cut.
and looks very nice.
That was the
too.
shape I was
Pete.
going to do today.
Can
Go
we go
back to the
overhead?
overhead camera. Let's see the
Oh.
shape again, Pete.
Yeah, let's check the form out.
Yeah, nice.
Gorgeous.
That isn't quite the form I was going for, because I'm going to do something different now. I was going to take these in more of a complete round donut shape, but because I'm going to cut these in half now,
Ah,
modify my shape
Okay.
to hopefully
Gav,
make life a little bit easier.
Gav
Are you-
said I would work. Says that Beaufort Inc. do the carriers for the SC4 and an O'Donnell type jaw.
Yeah, for the VersaChuck.
That's for the Versa chuck.
Ah, right. Okay.
That's a different chuck altogether.
There you go, a little bit of mess on it just to show what it would be like if I'd finish it at that stage.
Pete has a Versa chuck, which is just basically a super Nax Mentor super precision chuck.
Ooh, sexy wood.
Get that.
But I'm hoping to do a review on the VersaChuck long nose jaws soon. Because I bought this VersaChuck for a specific reason, and then I liked it, so I thought I'd have a deeper look at it. But that'll be a video, and I've got 3 videos in planning stage at the moment I haven't done, so it might be a while. So anyway,
September.
I was just reading a comment from Brian with a Y. El Torno da Mairera. I think it might be Spanish.
Yeah,
You
Brian
can
with
make
a Y.
you can make a light box out of anything. When I first started photographing my wood turning, I got a couple of LED lights from big box shop, Screwfix or Tool Station. Get a 5-liter plastic container, like you'd have whatever in it. Cut the end off, so now you've got a rectangular box, right? You line the box with silver foil from the kitchen, You put your light in there, and you get some garden fleece, that white fluffy stuff you cover your garden with, and you use that as a diffuser. And that's a real cheap way of doing it.
Yeah.
So Ruby Claire says they are dome jaws and they're silver in colour.
Oh, they're silver.
I've got the dome jaws. I have got dome jaws for the SC3 jug,
Well, they're
which is a lot smaller.
yeah, they're typical steel jaws that they haven't been painted black or anything.
Yeah.
You haven't got the gold-plated ones.
Oh, that's all right then. Oh,
Because
that's fine.
on my SK114 I paid a bit more and I got the gold-plated jaws with the ruby encrusted chutney.
Yeah.
I'm not as rich as you are, Stephen. I guess.
That was heavily laced with sarcasm there.
Hugh from Wouldn't It Be Nice has just joined us.
Hi, Hugh. Welcome
Hi,
along,
Hugh.
buddy.
How are you? Shalom, buddy.
Hello,
He's Welsh,
Hugh.
in case you didn't know.
I think I know Hugh. He comments on my work sometimes, I think.
Yeah, he calls me Michael, though. My poor late mum used to call me Michael and was the only person that got away with it.
That's my father's name, and he's Welsh.
Yeah, well, I'm Michael, but I like to be called Mike or other words.
Everybody
because you're called Michael when you're in trouble.
Exactly, yeah. Michael, come here.
Michael?
Mm-hmm.
That's your mother's word for you, yeah.
Now, Pete,
Yeah.
is there a reason why you wouldn't have, say, put a tenon on the
top?
The top?
Yeah, there is, because I wanted to make a bud vase. I should have put a tenon on top if I was making a box, but I wasn't making a box.
If you even put a mortise, then you could hollow that top out a little more.
Yeah. I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it in a different way.
Ooh.
Let's say this is a change of design. It was effectively a finished project, and now it's going to be modified.
So what's the wood, Pete?
Elm.
Elm. That was the question Roy Boy just asked. And Malcolm Douglas says, question for Stephen, where do you get the black and white background?
I just got it off the internet. You can get them in loads of colours. They're called gradated. Basically, they're just a graduation of colour. You can buy really expensive ones, photographic ones. They're about 70 quid and they're plastic. But these are cloth, and they're about 20 quid. And they come in absolutely a myriad of colours. And because they're gradated, because they're a gradual white to black or white to green, as you put the backdrop further away or nearer or lighter, you can actually change the color. So you can have if it's blue, you can make it very light blue by bringing it close or putting it further back, and it will go to like a royal blue.
I'll have to have a look at them then.
They're cheap. What I'll do is I'll set up the my photographs. I'm doing some photography the end of the week, and I'll be in touch. And I'll show you, I'll put the camera on and I'll show you exactly how I do it.
Excellent.
I mean, you can pick up flash heads like a Godox or Godox. You get a flash head, a softbox and a stand, and that was £100. I mean, they might have gone up a bit, but I do a lot of photography for other craft people. So if people make stuff, when I set up for the day, they'll bring around their crocheting or whatever they're doing.
That's a good idea.
And then I can make money that way. Once I'm set up, it's basically just putting a product on a table.
Yeah, just set the product in the.
And you just photograph it. Camera's set up, lights are set up. It was my favorite type of photography. You could put a can of beans on a table and go to the pub and come back and it's still there. So never worked.
You don't live in my house then?
Well, I had a studio, but never worked with kids or animals. They tend to move.
Stephen,
yes?
Claude at Glen Cove Woodworks asked if you would spell that product name, please.
Spell the product of what?
The gradiated cloth, I think he's looking for.
Yeah, just go on to a search engine and put in photographic backdrops, and aggregated or graduated, and there's quite a few companies that do them. I mean, some of them are ridiculously expensive, but these are about 20 quid. They're made in China. I haven't got the packaging because, you know, it came all folded up in a piece of plastic, so I
Right,
couldn't
sorry.
tell you. But they're really cheap and they're very versatile.
So the first one I've looked at here, Essential Photo, is a
And there's
company, and they do loads and loads of backdrops.
Are they cloth?
There are cloth ones and paper ones and muslin,
Yeah.
muslin
The-
backdrop stands and sets. Blah, blah.
the-
They do a
the
whole lot of
profe-
stuff.
Yeah, the professional photographers like I used to have, you'd have, it's kind of a hard plastic and it's a matte, but it can get scratched quite easily and you can't clean them. But with
Yeah.
the cloth, you can pin it so you can get it really, really tight so you get a perfect color, or you can actually quilt it a little bit so you get kind of an undulating background. They're very versatile and they're very cheap.
They do. This company does vinyl backdrops as well, which is the sort of plastic ones you're talking about, I suppose.
Yeah, they're a bit more expensive.
Yeah.
But
So
the
there are loads of them out there, guys. Just as Stephen said, just kind of search for photographic backdrops.
But what you'll find is that it's the lighting, it's how you light the object. You can make a great object look really bad with bad photography and vice versa. So diffuse the lights. If you want to start off cheap, get yourself some LED lights, put them, like I said, put them in a 5-liter plastic container, cut it off so you've got like a rectangle, put the light in the bottom, put silver paper on the inside, just, you know, normal cooking foil, and then put a diffuser over it so you're making the light a lot softer so it's not harsh. But remember that LEDs do get hot, so, you know, don't be going to the pub and leaving them on, because you'll come back and your workshop will be burnt to the ground.
good advice.
I'm just sneaking up on this Waters tenon joint here.
Yeah, if you search on Amazon too, Amazon there's loads and loads of stuff on Amazon. I would suggest Amazon is maybe not the cheapest place to buy them either.
Yeah, best thing to do, go to Amazon. I mean, they charge you 20 quid, you know, unless you're like a Prime guy person. But you just cut a copy and paste that, whatever it is, and put it into another search engine. You might find it in the UK with free posting.
Yep. There are loads of them there, guys. Just go and have a search for it.
Wivey has indicated that plain roller blinds are also good for backgrounds, and they do work.
Yeah. And anything you can make a scoop. I mean, basically, I've got 2 gutter brackets and a pole, and I hang something on that, and I put a table. And well, like I said, I'll try and do a video on it, how to do your photography and do it cheap.
Cool.
Because, like I said, there's nothing worse than turning something really nice and having a really bad photograph.
Well, I don't tend to sell my stuff apart from in a shop, so
Yeah.
Andy, the woodwork learner, says he turns the lights off to make his stuff look better. Yeah, I do that with some of mine too.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And put the lid on the bin once it gets dark.
That's right, yeah.
No, it's true. Shop lights are totally different. If you put stuff on display, make sure it looks perfect before you put it on display, because those shop lights will pick up every single little imperfection.
yeah.
And,
But against that, people can pick it up and touch it, which gets you a lot of leeway if people can touch your work.
oh, do you know what? If you pick something up and it's really smooth and it feels good in the hands, you've sold it. If you pick something up, especially a lot of stuff I sell to women, a lot of vases and colored stuff, if it's rough in any place whatsoever, even at the bottom, you lost the sale.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got to be
Wesley
tactile,
Hannah's joined us.
isn't it?
Good evening, good afternoon, Wesley.
Hi, Wesley.
I've had a lot of people say when they've picked up a piece and then looked at the bottom of it, oh, the bottom looks as good as the top. And I found that that can be a selling point as well.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of stuff I make, I don't actually finish the bottom, but I'll do them all in one go because I turn out a lot of stuff, and so I'll get the sander out, on the arbor, and I'll do like 3 or 4 pieces. But you're
Yeah.
right. I mean, wood turners, the first thing they do is they try and get the longest finger they've got to go as far as they can possibly get it into your piece of work, and then they'll flip it over and look at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, what I do with a lot of my pieces is I have different vacuum trucks that I've made up, and I'll take the piece and I'll put it in the vacuum so that I can put some sort of detail and finish off the bottom so that it looks finished.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't got any kind of embellishment on the bottom, it's just nice and smooth and flat, and you've got your maker's mark. And if you want to have maker's marks, a real cheap way of doing it is what I do, is I use a rubber stamp. So you can get a rubber stamp, any design you want, you just draw on a piece of paper, send it to them, they'll send you a rubber stamp. So I've got like, Wood Dude or Handmade, and I can just stamp the bottom with any colored ink. Once it's dry, bit of sanding sealer, wax, so you've got a maker's mark straight away. And that's a real cheap way of doing it.
I used to do that years ago, but I then revisited a couple of pieces that I'd sold years before, and my maker mark wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
So stayed even, it was out of sunshine.
What happens if it's a soft wood? So if it's like ash or something like that, you got to seal it first and then stamp it. If it's a hardwood like maple, it actually once the sanding sealer's on it, if you're using wood, water on wood, it will fade. I mean, you can. The thing is with the rubber stamps, you can use any color. So you can get a spray can, spray it on a piece of plastic. So if you've got a black and gold piece and it's black at the bottom, you can spray the can color, whatever you got, and then just get your stamp and stamp it so it looks like the same color. I picked up
These
all
days I
these.
use a mix of I had some coins made which are effectively enamel badges without the pin, which I glue
Yeah,
in.
that's real
Um,
professional stuff.
Got one here somewhere.
Roy the boy says he started doing pens 3 weeks ago, and now he's in demand. Ooh.
Ooh.
So
Good.
yeah, that's my coin. Can't really see it that well in that light, but it's got Twisted Trees written on the bottom. And they're
How much?
about a mil thick, 1.5 mil maybe. So you just reinforcing a bit into the bottom, glue them in.
How much do they run out, Pete?
I can't actually remember. I've had them for a long time because I think I bought 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
I've got about 50 left. So I've been using them for a while. But you just go to a badge maker and tell them you want it without the pins. They call them coins. Right, now then, you'll notice I've left a little ridge around here. I think your camera will pick it up.
Yep.
That's so that when I sand the inside of this, I'm not sanding my join for the box lid. It just gives me a little demarcation point.
You could get Mike to put some masking tape around there to show you where it is.
Yeah, I've got some here.
Oh, see, look,
I've got used and new.
Mike's second-hand masking tape. There you go,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah,
I'll tell you, Etsy shop tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, it's already available, Steve.
Well, you could always do it what Steve Green does or Red Green does and use gaffer tape, duct tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything. But there's a big difference. If you're painting something, the difference between masking tape and painter's tape and auto tape, big difference. Masking tape is basically paper, And I use a lot of automotive tape because it comes in 1 mil, 2 mil, 3 mil, and you can get really nice crisp lines. If you're putting on like gold leaf and you just want a couple of tiny lines at the top, you can't go wrong.
No.
But there is a secret to masking tape. How do you get it even all the way round?
Mike doesn't know.
Well, I wasn't asking Mike. I mean, I was talking to everybody else.
Well, there are different grades of masking tape. Like there's masking tape that will stretch, and if you're going around a curve, the kind that has some stretch to it will do the job quite nicely.
Yeah, the paper one. If you get a good quality paper one, I find it pretty good. But then all you need to do is go on to Amazon Books, and you can find my book, All You Don't Need to Know About Masking Tape.
I know. Somebody bought it for Christmas for me, mate.
Yeah. It's only one page, but it's, nevertheless, it's a nice cover.
It's a nice cover. There's a picture of Santa Claus on the front.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it.
It looks strangely like Mike.
Yeah, and it's not a real reindeer. It's a sheep made up to look like a reindeer.
Of course.
We all know, Mike, we all know that.
Okay, that's all right.
Sorry, mate.
It's only obvious to the educated like you, Stephen.
Well, my father's Welsh, so,
Yeah, well, you know all about it.
And his name's Mike, so what can I do?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But going back to Ruby's point, you can, the thinner the masking tape and especially automotive tape, you can bend it pretty much any way you want. So you could, I've done it a few times. You can actually get nice loops on a vase or something. But obviously you can't bend it too much because it will start to crease. And then obviously when you spray it, the worst thing is you take your masking tape off and you go, oh, beep, beep, beep. But I do a lot of, I use a lot of masking tape actually on my stuff, just to get, just a small embellishment at the top of a piece,
So there's a link in there, guys, for enamel coin makers.
All right,
cool. To have a look at that, you can have a look and see how much they cost. That's just one of many. Just as a simple search on Google.
Would it be too much to ask to put a link into my book as well, Brian? Would you mind that, Pete?
Have you got a book, Mike?
Yeah. I think Mike, it's already there. It's under recycling.
Oh. No, it's under recyclable, I think.
Oh, right. Sorry. I thought that was your logo, that recycling with the arrows going round in a triangle.
Mike's logo has wings on it.
I need to come up with a nice design like you guys have.
Do you know what? I just drew an S for Stephen, because that's my name. And underneath I wrote handmade, and I got a stamp and I stamped that. But I also have my Dudism stamp, which is my little fish, and another one that says with the website address and the email address. So if it's a big piece, I can stamp it 3 ways. If it's a small piece, I can just put my handmade stamp on it.
Well, I've now got a laser engraver.
I've got. Is it the handheld one, Pete?
No, it's it was a Chinese knockoff special that isn't available. Well, wasn't available 2 days after I bought it.
Is it Elks Cam?
No.
Okay, it's on a. It's got like 3 motors. It's got X and Y, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of software are you using? Are you using T2 or are you using the one that came with it?
I can only use the proprietary software that came with it. That's one of the problems with it.
Yeah, I got one, and the software is the problem.
Yeah.
I use Lightburn, Stephen.
Lightburn.
Yep.
Okay. I just know I got T2, laser T2, and well, there's a couple. There's Benbox, which is all in Chinese, which is a nightmare to use, and the T2 laser. When you set the laser up, you actually have to work out what speed the laser is going to run for it to actually connect with the software. That's the only problem with T2.
Well, Lightburn does it all for you.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't work with light burn, so that's one of the drawbacks of cheap stuff. Somebody's nicked my
Well,
paintbrush. Who's got my paintbrush?
I haven't. There's a big one with a pole in it on the floor. I can see it. Oh, it's a broom. Sorry, mate.
Paintbrush is on the floor as well.
Well, Pete, I'll tell you, if you can't get the software to work with your, best thing is show me your laser, and I bet you T2 will work with it.
Yeah, I mean it works with the software that comes with it, but it's very simple. But that's all I need. I don't need anything fancy.
You're not going to start burning Picassos on your work.
No.
Okay.
My wife's a graphic designer. She did my logo.
Oh, right.
And I just burned that on the bottom of stuff.
I can't find Mike's book. I can't find Mike's book link, but there's this link to the Woodburn Gallery.
It's a very short site. It's sold out actually.
You just put in a search engine, put recycle center, local, and you can get multiple copies there.
Yeah. In actual fact, that's not true, Steve, because we had a massive production run on the initial launch of it, of one copy, and it sold immediately because I bought it.
Yeah,
And,
there you go.
You know, that's it. And
Instant success.
Jobs are good.
Pete,
Mike?
could you tell us what you're putting on your piece of?
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's cellulose sanding sealer I've just put on there.
Is it neat, Pete?
No, it's diluted probably 60-40 by now.
Okay.
I dilute it roughly half,
Right.
and then modify it as I go.
Do you let it dry and then nib it back?
I'm going to put some Yorkshire grit on.
Chris
So
Dodds
Joe,
has-
if you're out there watching, start singing.
Chris
Ruby
Dodds
will
has
sing.
said, how, another book of mine is how
No,
to
Ruby
paint a
doesn't
ceiling.
sing. I forgot.
No, if you don't want me to sing, if I sing, he'd have nobody watching him. In
How to
fact,
paint the
he
ceiling.
would probably leave.
Sorry, I'm just reading the chat. Good one, Chris. Hey, Mike had really big hair like Bob Ross. You could just dunk him in the paint, and he could run around, and you get your ceiling painted.
You know, I met Bob Ross, and actually, he would probably go along with something like that.
He seemed a very cool guy.
Absolute
I
icon.
remember at one show he let us. It was an art show, and he let us paint roses on his forehead.
Yeah, that's probably pretty cool.
I wish back then we had cell phones and cameras like we do now.
Yeah.
Yeah, instant photo.
But you have something better, Ruby. You have memory.
Yeah, you see like people at the Jubilee, the celebration, and everybody's just sitting there holding up a phone. So you've got a photograph of a load of phones, and then possibly like half a queen or something. I think you're missing a lot.
You do miss a lot by trying to take photographs or video.
Well, unless you're going to do it professionally, what's the point? You're going to get home and there's like, a photograph of like a half a golden, carriage with a horse and about 20 iPhones in it.
I think what they're trying to do is bank against the day that they have no memory at all left and they can't just voluntarily bring it back.
We all suffer from that though, Ruby.
And if you don't, you will.
Yeah, once it's gone, it's gone. As far as I'm concerned.
I find when I'm out on the bike and I'm riding in the mountains, you come around a corner and you got to stop and look because the view changes and it's just beautiful. So you don't stop for long. Sometimes you just slow down to about 5 miles an hour. Sometimes you stop, put your foot on the ground, take a breath, and ride on again. I used to try and photograph some of those views. It doesn't work.
Oh, I used to travel around on a bike.
It doesn't fit inside a lens. It
Oh,
does
I
work if you're a professional photographer and you're prepared to sit there for a week, getting the right light, the right angle,
a week.
snapshots. Nah.
I used to do a lot of stock photography, so I'd travel around and I'd have a 35mm and we'd sell them to a slide library. So there'd be, I don't know, nice people in Burma doing things in the field or riding horses or something. But proper photography, if you look at, landscape photographers, you're right, Pete, they will spend a week at a place just to get the light right. And if it's natural light, you're at the mercy of
Yeah.
the creator.
If you're talking about a valley through the mountains, it's got to be natural light,
Yeah.
and the sun's got to be in the right spot. So you've got a certain time of day when this picture's got to get taken.
Well, the best thing is pre-dawn. You have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning before the sun comes up, before there's actual light, and then you have a long exposure and you can get some amazing shots. And as the sun comes up and higher, it gets fuzzier and fuzzier. And at the end of the day, that's why sunsets always look like they do, because there's so much dirt and grit in the atmosphere.
The other thing with being a long distance bike rider is you tend to stop at about 7 in the evening. You park your bike in a campsite or hotel, wherever you're stopping. And before you do anything else, you go to the bar. And you do that every night. And you stay in the bar until quite late. Then
No.
you get up in the morning, you get back on the bike and go somewhere else. Then by the time you
Lewis has
get
joined
back,
us.
you look at the picture and think, where was that? What
Yeah.
country was
Yeah.
that in?
What day was that?
I drove from basically the Mexican border up to Oregon, up the Pacific Coast Highway, the 101.
That's a
Mhm.
nice trip.
Yeah, all through like Kings Canyon, Sequoia National Park, Yosemite, Redwood. It's in the high Sierras, beautiful part of the world.
So that's the insight in the Gold Gun.
Amy has it spot on. She says, just live in the moment.
Yeah,
Totally.
that's why
That's
I'm here.
100% right. Live
Forget
for
about
right now.
fancy wood turning, and you can hang out with Mike Wall.
Ooh, that was unkind.
It was no,
Actually,
that's a compliment.
The only reason people do that, Steve, is because I realise how good they are.
I'm going to have to come
Lewis-
up to your place.
Lewis, the
see-
Klondike Craftsman's is in, guys. Be careful.
Hi,
Hi,
Lewis.
If I was actually doing a box, I wouldn't have done this at all. I'd have a tenon on here, I'd put that in there and hollow this bit.
Can't you make a
Yeah.
little jam chuck?
That's what I'm about to do.
Oh, sorry.
Spoil
So what I'm
these.
gonna do-
You spoiled the punchline there, Steve.
Sorry.
That's all right, Stephen. I'll
I'll
let
go.
you off.
I'll sit on the naughty step.
Yeah, set the naughty step. Don't take Terry's naughty step. You never get up again. It's too low.
Is it? It was a sub
Yeah.
basement.
Oh, it tells you on your knees trying to get back up again.
He's not watching this, is he?
No, he's
Terry
in the
knows he's
car.
travelling.
Oh,
He's actually
Very
travelling as we speak.
He'll hopefully watch it back later because, I'm covering for him. So if I mess up and he loses half his subscribers, it's his fault.
Does he have any?
Who?
Yeah,
Terry.
Terry's got
Yeah, Terry has a few
about the same as me. He's around
500 markish.
probably the same people actually.
I'm
Probably.
hanging out with movie stars.
Yeah, hardly.
Well,
Hardly.
I did used to be in the movies through the 70s, 80s, into the
You
90s.
did indeed.
Yeah.
But Ruby, do you really want to talk about it?
I worked as an underwater photographer on a TV series called The Last Frontier. It was a documentary series that was, it was on TV for 26 years.
Cool.
It probably still is somewhere.
Some people have found copies of the films, oddly enough.
You'll probably see it on YouTube at some point because
I can
lots of old
honestly,
stuff does.
yeah, I can honestly say that I've swum with whales, hugged sharks.
I've swum with dolphins, but I've never hugged a shark. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm not intending to hug a shark
Oh, no, I
anytime
think-
soon.
Yeah,
I think I've hugged a few sharks, but not in the water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've hugged a few sharks too.
Yours had 2 legs, right, Pete?
what?
Sorry?
Your sharks had 2 legs, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Mike's just told us about 2 of his recent sharks.
Hmm.
No
Gav
comment,
today's
Gareth.
having to go. He says, "Nice work, Pete." And bye, everyone.
Cheers, Gav.
Cheers, Gareth. All the best, mate.
See you, mate.
Chris Dodd says, "Go for a bus ride with Mike, and then you'll be living in the moment."
Yeah.
What's he trying to say about your driving?
I've given up trying to defend myself now, Brian.
He,
It's a lost cause.
The good thing
It's a
about
lost
sharks is they only ever eat wet food.
do they?
Yeah, if you stay
Yeah, so
dry,
just be
you're
careful in
fine.
the shower. Other than that, you're safe.
So you never go swimming with the sharks with a dry suit, only a wetsuit, right?
cause.
The answer is don't go swimming with sharks, basically.
And don't
I
marry
went.
them.
Well, not swimming. We went to in the Sea of Cortez off Baja, California. They have these whales, and they bring their calves up to the boat. And why they want to get in touch with the human being that's basically slaughtered half their population over the last 100 years, I never know.
Well, we used to have the whales would come up to us, and we would free them from hooks and things that had gotten caught on them. And
Yeah,
one of our films was about going off the coast of Newfoundland, where we would release the whales from that had got
Fishing nets?
trapped in nets.
Hmm.
And we released 26 whales, and every single time before the whale went out to sea, it swam up to the boat. It came out of the water, looked at us, nodded thank you, and then went out to sea.
There you go.
It was very, very moving.
yeah. I think there's a lot of things on YouTube, like animals asking humans for help.
Yeah. Well, I've even seen sharks come up and ask people to remove hooks that have gotten caught in their mouth.
I once swam with some dolphins who they come up and they kind of look at you and they go, "Hey, let's go and play." And you think, "I can't
Yep.
move as fast as you," but they're very they're unbelievably playful and incurious creatures. Gotta love
Yep.
dolphins, right?
You'll find seals and sea lions will do exactly the same thing.
I haven't. It's a bit too cold. I like kind of warm water kind of guy.
Well, we were off the coast of British Columbia, and the one time my boss wanted some film of the let's see, that would have been the sea lions, and the big male would not let the fellows in our crew anywhere near his harem, but he would let me swim and take the film.
Wow.
And it was kind of odd because we were all wearing identical dry suits, but he could still tell that I was female.
He might have been a wood turner. You don't know.
That's quite possible. I didn't, at that time, I wasn't a wood turner, so I didn't check it out that closely.
But secretly, you always wanted to be a wood turner. So they're smart things.
Well, when I was younger, I wanted to get into the skilled trades, but those were closed to women back in those days.
I don't know. I was my first job. I was a dental technician, and I was apprenticed to a guy who was had polio in one arm, and he was a one-armed dental technician.
Hmm.
And we had a there was 2 of us actually. It was a young girl there, but I'm young.
Yes, you are, by comparison.
I'm a little over 21, just a tad.
We can afford to laugh, right, Brian?
So am I. Just a little.
Well, the thing
Oh,
is, mentally we're all 21, but it's our exoskeleton, it's the outside bit that just
That's
not
the bit,
keeping.
yeah.
It's just not keeping pace with what's going on.
You have
I'm
that right.
I'm certainly 28. I feel 26 every day when I wake up. Still 26.
My wife says
Just-
I got the brain of a 5-year-old. I don't know what she means by that.
Yeah. It's the
She's just
childlike humour, mate.
She's just a nice, honest person.
Now, I'm not 21 because 21-year-old me wasn't a person I liked much.
That's why I say 26, Pete.
Yeah, about 26 is a good age.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
you're right.
I wasn't so smart when I was between 18 and 21 either.
I'll honestly say, Pete, you're a very nice person now. And having met you in person, I can say that.
How much is he paying you?
Well, we're going to discuss that later.
Okay.
The check will be in the post.
No, I think once you start going over 21, that bit when you're 20, when you're like 16 to 21 is the crazy period.
Yep.
And then it's less crazy from like 21 to about 24, 25. When I was 21, I left the UK with 400 quid and a one-way ticket to Hong Kong, and I came back about 26 years later.
That would have been a good experience.
Yeah, I think traveling is the best experience you can ever have. You meet people, you see things, experience different things, and you learn about yourself in the process.
Absolutely right.
And now for my sins, I got into woodturning.
Yeah. Andy says, "Oh, for the knowledge I thought I had when I was 21."
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite right.
We all think everybody's king and queen of the hill when they're 21.
Yep.
You see, if that jam chuck was a bit loose, Pete, you could have asked Mike for a bit of masking tape.
Well, yeah.
I'll pass it
I
through.
might put some tape on it in a minute, actually, but just get that middle bit off.
Or you can show me how to use it then, Pete.
Yeah, you'll have to get the crayons and the big paper out.
Yeah, I've got some masking tape.
Whose jet is that?
It's my private jet. It comes over and picks me up.
It's time to go for lunch, is it?
Yeah.
After afternoon tea.
Well, I go down to Côte d'Azur for some oysters, champagne.
Yeah.
Maybe a foot massage.
I go down to Côte de Millets every now and again.
Are you allowed in there again?
Can't get in with that one. Let's try this one.
Last weekend was the Detroit Grand Prix motor races. We listened to that kind of a noise all day for 3 days.
I used to race motorbikes when I was younger, and I think it definitely just really trashed my hearing.
Well, back when we were younger, we didn't know the dangers of loud noises to our ears.
I think we didn't know the dangers of a lot of things to our bodies.
That's true. Like staying athletic and fit and that, we didn't realize how badly we'd wear joints out.
Well, when I used to play rugby when I was younger, they always told you do your exercises, make sure you got a lot of muscle around your knees, and I didn't listen to them, and now my knees are not as good as they were.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. I mean,
I spent a lot of time when I was in the army exercising and carrying lots of heavy weights about, and now I have no knees. Basically, they're shot to pieces.
I'll make you some wooden ones.
They might be better than the ones I've got.
Really?
See, the youngsters will look at us and say, "Cool, why don't you stay fit?" When I was young, I could do anything. I could run, could jump. My favourite hobby was falling off motorbikes on dirt tracks and stuff.
I used to do that as well, actually.
when I got to about 40, I thought that was fun doing dirt track, so I thought I'd have another go at it. So I went out and bought myself a bike, fell off on the grass at about 40 miles an hour. Really shouldn't have hurt. Oh, it did.
It hurt a whole lot.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I
What
got
you can
into
take when you're 20, you cannot take when you're older.
no, one of the reasons I got into wood turning was because I ended up with a bad back. I mean, I was like, I couldn't move, and I sat in front of the computer and I watched Captain Eddie Castellan saying, "Hey, I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. Welcome to my shop." And I thought, "Ooh, I want to do that." And that was about over 4 years ago. So maybe there's a silver lining for everybody that has a bad experience. Get into wood turning.
I think it's therapeutic anyway.
Yeah, well, it is for me.
I
Anyway.
just always wanted to do it. When I had the opportunity, I built myself a workshop and got started.
Yeah, Mike's hoping to do it as well.
Folks,
because of
I hate to say this, but I'm going to have to leave. I have an appointment.
Okay, Ruby, thank you ever so much for coming in.
It's been really great being here and watching your box, and I look forward to seeing it later, Pete.
Yeah, I'll post it when it's done.
And I hope
You take
yeah, I
care,
did overrun a
Ruby.
bit because I wasn't
Nice to
expecting
see
to be doing a box when I planned it.
and I hope
Thanks
all
for
of you
coming in,
have a
Ruby.
great day. Okay,
Take
we'll
care.
see you next
You
time.
too, Ruby.
Take care, Ruby.
Take
See
care.
you.
Cheers. Bye.
And that's the link to my live tonight, guys. If you're nothing better to do, you can pop
What
along
time?
and have a look.
What time is it? 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock, yep.
Okay.
I'll be there if you want me.
Oh, are you off today, Mike? I'll send you the link.
Yeah, I'm off today.
You want
I
to hear
can-
one?
I can-
I'll
I
send
can
you the
annoy
link
you.
with it.
I can annoy you tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be.
There's hundreds of people waiting at bus stops.
Situation.
Yeah.
Bubble.
The thing is, the difference is, Steve, when I'm not working, they wait at bus stops and the bus actually comes.
Yeah. There's actually a website you can see. You can punch it in there and say, best times when Mike's not working, and people plan their day around it.
Yeah.
It's called Mike's Days Off.
Mike's, .com.
The best time to travel.
Yeah, that's why we have Mike on as an earworm, because it's a public service to let people know the buses are safe.
Yeah. Everybody that hasn't got a earworm gets a bit of commission off the local council.
Chris Dodd suggests that his wife says that wood turning is good for her mental health.
Yeah. You're not wrong there, Chris. You're not wrong
I've
there.
heard a lot of women say that. They prefer their men to be in the shed so they know where they are.
Yeah, at least we're not down the pub getting drunk.
Andy Woodward Lerner says, will Pete be finished by then?
I reckon.
I think he will.
That's not fair.
This is overrunning, but there's two projects you're getting.
Two projects.
Project one will finish in 40 minutes.
It's Monday.
Yeah. After a long weekend, what else would you be doing?
Yeah. Who had a big party? Do you guys have parties?
No.
No.
Nope.
Stayed at home, watched a bit of the stuff on TV. Wasn't all that impressed with the parade yesterday.
The only thing I thought was great was the one with Paddington
I couldn't
Bear.
even go out because I parked my van in front of the garage door, so I couldn't get a bike out.
No, goodness.
And then I
sake,
very
Pete.
cleverly dropped my van key in the car, which Lisa took to London.
Which you went to
So I
London.
couldn't move the van, couldn't get the bike out.
So do you plan this, Pete?
No, because I just spent half a day looking for the bloody van key.
William Kenny. This is brilliant. I love this. William also got into wood turning after a bad back injury. Started watching Mike Walt. I'm now 10 grand poorer.
Yeah, I've been blamed for a lot of that, I tell you.
Yeah. If you put in wood tools into a search engine, it just gives you Mike's address.
William, I have very much a similar story, my friend. I started wood turning at the beginning of the pandemic.
How much have you spent? How much have you spent?
Mike Walt.
How much have you spent so far? You're allowed to say.
Oh,
I can't say. $12.99, wasn't it, Brian?
$12.99 is as much as I could say. Michelle might be like, no, I would say it's up near about. We're getting close to 10 grand, I would think.
It's more than my car's worth.
Yeah.
It would be, because I mean, I paid what, £4,000 for a lathe,
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, to get a good quality
and that's the
lathe,
third lathe I bought.
right? Yeah, it's a lathe, really.
You know, so
I built the workshop, so that cost me best part of £3,000.
Yeah.
Before I even put a tool into it.
I was lucky I had the two stables that I've converted. So I got the two stables, converted them, but then I had to line them with timber and redo the floor, insulate the ceiling, put lights in.
And make me a little room in the back.
If you just add it all up, it's like, geez.
Yeah, if you add it all up, it's scary. Don't do that.
And then
but
the camera system I use now. But it's just a hobby. I mean, I could have been spending £100 on a round of golf on a Saturday, just the same.
Or you could be
my next door neighbour has just spent £2,000 on timber, tooling, etc. to make a guitar.
There you go. See, just like that. £2,000.
You could
he could have bought a guitar for £500, but it's kept him out of the pub for months.
Yeah, but he wants to watch it. He wants to make it.
Wants to make it. He can make another one for a lot less next. But he doesn't want a second one, really.
Careful what you say next now, because Lewis has got the sound mic on again. His conference call has ended.
Okay, that parted off without flying, so that was good.
I think you've done this before, Pete.
I haven't actually. This is totally on the fly.
I think you've made a box or two before, or turned somebody into a jam chuck a time or two before.
I made a few jam chucks.
Yeah.
But to actually take a bud vase and make a box out of it, that's just a stupid idea.
Yeah, well.
It's bigger than me.
What you need to do now, Pete, is stick it in a box, send it over to Stephen, and get him to decorate it for you.
Yeah. Stuff it full of pound notes.
How did I know you would say that, Steve?
Just so that you're not monetarily motivated, Stephen.
No. Look, all the tools I bought because I made something and sold it. So every time I sell something, I put that money to buying a tool. So recently I ran out of flute on my bowl gouge, on my little spindle gouge. So I bought a Simon Hope reversible thing. And that's a couple of pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Brian says, you can start off by spending an absolute fortune and not really use the tools that you're buying because somebody else has told you to buy them, or start off something simple, and as you progress you realize, oh, I can't do it with this tool. What's the best tool to buy? Can I get one second hand? And then you can build up from there.
I bought the cheapest lathe I could find to start with.
I bought a second-hand one. Like I think everybody started off on a Reed's drive thing.
Yes, yeah, most people do. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you realise that maybe you need something that you can control a bit more.
Yeah. So I bought a cheap little lumberjack lathe, and very quickly decided it wasn't a lathe for me. So I kept my eyes open for deals on Facebook and stuff. And there was a guy up near Cookstown who was giving up woodturning, advertised his whole setup for the price of some £1,800. So I went and bought it. The record power Cornet Herald.
Oh yeah.
And a scroll saw, and a sander, and a whole lot of other stuff. Loads and loads of tools.
My first lathe I made out of a router, which was insanity, obviously. So
yeah, because it was a bit fast.
Well, you can. it's a router. It's not designed to be a lathe.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, it's a spinny thing. And then I looked about and I saw a second-hand Axminster, the old ABWSL Reed's drive thing, and it was a bit busted, but And then after that, I bought this turnstile off a guy about 10 miles up the road. Because that's why I ended up with an SK114, Brian. Sorry to bring it up.
See.
Hey?
I looked out my my plumber was a wood turner, and he wanted a hand pick up a lathe that he bought for himself. It was a CL4, I think. So I said, yeah, I'm free that day. I'll come up with you. So I jumped in the van with him. We went out and picked up this lathe. Then he introduced me to a bunch of other turners. So the first lathe I bought was a Myford Maestro, which had electronic variable speed on it and an outboard rig so you could turn 14, 16-inch bowls on it. And it was a bloody good lathe. But that lasted me a good 10 years, that lathe. And then I sold it on and somebody else is getting use out of it now.
How long have you been
Well,
turning wood, Pete?
Oh, 15, 16 years, something like that.
Wow.
I
know
don't
Mike.
do this sort of thing. I mean, the first colour I ever put on a piece of wood was after lockdown.
Really?
I do mostly spindle turning, mostly small stuff. Artistic stuff, just occasional. And I said I haven't done this sort of stuff at all, really. But I've kept busy.
I think if you've got the space, you can be a production turner. But I am so lacking in space. I have to make small things. Hopefully, I can sell for a reasonable price.
Yeah, when I was making money at this, I was doing flat work as well. I got a very small workshop, so I was limited in what I could make. But it paid for the workshop to be built and paid for most of the equipment that's in it. And
I wish.
now I've got a couple of outlets and a couple of contracts for production stuff.
It does take a time for you to get your work out there for people to see it and say, I mean, I do a few local fairs and more people will say, oh, I like that, could you make me one? And it's mostly word of mouth, but I think having social media presence, Facebook, Instagram,
Yep.
you got to have a shop going. People haven't really got time to come around and say, oh, can you make me this? They just want to see it, they like it, they buy it, you post it.
Yeah. See, I don't really do a lot of online selling. I did do it, but I find it dull. I don't like selling stuff.
Dr. Bob's here.
Rather pay somebody to do that for me.
Good afternoon, Dr. Bob.
Good afternoon, Dr. Bob.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
My biggest problem is I can't sell myself. That's the trouble.
Got to show the camera because otherwise it don't work. Bit Yorkshire grip.
I'll start singing if you like.
No, don't, please.
Okay.
Dr. Bob started turning when he was 10 in 1956.
Good grief.
Now, I did turn when I was young.
Yeah, that's a
Then,
lifetime.
because I was
of
working all over the place and working away from home most of the time, traveling around the world and stuff, I kind of just didn't have time to do it, didn't have the space to do it. So it stopped.
I tried it when we were at school. We had like a wood shop, and I think I threatened to stick a chisel in someone's head, and I was banned from there. I was banned from it.
They tend to disapprove of that in school workshops.
Yeah, Ruby asked me, did I study art? And the same thing. I tried to get a guy's head into a vat of molten wax. We're doing screen printing, and so I was banned from the art shop as well. Story of my life, folks.
Hold on, I've got to go. He says, great live, Pete. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later, dude.
Take care.
I'm thinking actually of making a visit up to Mike because he doesn't live that far from me.
Where do you live, Steve?
Bottom of Buckinghamshire.
Oh, right, it's not far at all, mate.
No.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. As long as you give me a week's notice to make sure I can't make it, you're more than welcome.
I'll just wait at a bus stop, and if there's nothing
Yeah.
turns up, I know you're in.
You can have a long wait.
So
Anytime.
what we'll do, I'll come up and we'll do some colouring, and it'll be like an expose. Mike Walt is colouring wood.
Yeah, you could do. I got all the gear, mate. I just don't use it. You can show me how to use it properly.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Hmm.
But we could have some fun, and what I'm specialist at doing is producing kind of like Jackson Pollocks on your wall. You know.
Yeah. That's.
I'm good at that.
That's all
No,
right.
Mike does that.
So is Mike.
I did that.
Let's get Oliver.
But actually, Brian's good at that as well.
Hey.
Oh yeah,
Quite.
I remember that one with Ed Oliver. Superb.
Yeah.
Hey, is Ed starting to do his Saturday morning stuff again? Because I saw.
I don't
No.
think so.
No?
He was thinking about it, but he's got so many other things on the go. I don't think he might do. He might do one day.
That's a pity. They were good fun sometimes. A Saturday morning.
You can learn so much from people like production turners, like
Yeah.
Phil Irons or Colwyn Way. When you watch them do it, or Les Thorne or people like that, they've been doing it, and they're so proficient in what they do.
Mm-hmm. I see we're getting a demo from Martin and Les Thorne on Tuesday on YouTube.
Yeah. Cool.
There's a YouTube thing coming out. He's bringing, I think it was Tuesday. Just have a quick look at that again. See, it's still on my Facebook page.
I went down to Martin's place in Hampshire, his old place that he built at the back of the garden centre, and now he's got a whole new setup. It looks really good.
Yeah, I went down there when lockdown lifted. Bought a few things, but mostly just say hello and be nosy.
Yep. It's next week.
Right.
It's next week. It's 14th of June it is.
He used to have a little shed that he used to brew up his Hampshire sheen in, and that's now a media centre. He's put a lot of time and effort into it.
He's definitely a hard worker, is Martin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's the advert on Facebook says from 7 p.m. UK time on Tuesday the 14th of June.
Okay.
For members of our mailing list.
I am on his mailing list.
Free demo with Les and Martin.
Cool.
Okay, so I forgot a bit.
You didn't. What did you forget?
Forgot this bit here.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say anything.
So I'm going to put some tape on it again.
Not like you?
Well, I'm new here. I want to spoil it.
Yeah, right. So yeah.
Now,
he's still on probation, isn't he?
I'm on a probation. So will that masking tape hold with the wax?
It doesn't need to hold that well.
Just you're going to
cut in. I'm just polishing.
Oh,
you're not going to open that up a bit more, are you not?
No, that's what I want to do because I want a bud fuzz. I want things to stand up right, and I've got no.
Oh, see, okay.
Through support, have I? So I need it to be quite a tight hole at the top there to keep us. What do you put in a bud fuzz anyway?
Buds.
No
one's listening. You actually.
I need to make it bigger. The bottle's bigger than that.
Pete, you wrapped that the wrong way round, mate.
Yeah, well, it's there, Mike.
Sorry, I know
really,
I know what to do.
Well, let's just see if it stays on there, Mike.
At the end of the day, if your masking tape is sticky, it'll stay anyway.
Yeah. It's only if you're going to catch it with a tool or whatever. I'm not going anywhere near it, so it doesn't matter.
You're not going to be running at 2,000 revs either.
No,
well, I'm just glad we got a professional masking tape master of the masking tapes on hand.
Yeah, well, it's always handy.
It is, mate. It is.
Yeah. Not very often, but occasionally.
Do you have your own personal masking tape that says
yes,
Mike's tape?
Yeah, I put it on with Sharpie.
he kind of has to have his own because manufacturers don't sell them anymore because he makes that
Well,
much of a mess
yeah.
of it.
If I show a whole roll of tape, I've got to blur the manufacturer's name. That's in the that. Otherwise, I could get sued.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously you don't do this while you drive it, right? Or do you?
Who doesn't?
You.
Don't I? Oh, okay then. Have it your way, Stephen.
No, it's just that I heard some of the people up there that you actually give them like these, you know, when you get on an airplane, they give you those little blinkers.
Yes.
Everybody on the bus is wearing them.
Yeah. No, they prefer to wear blindfolds. Actually, it's yeah.
Nearer to being executed.
That's right. Yeah.
Ooh.
I did actually one day, which most probably won't go down with very well with some of the viewers, but nevertheless, somebody actually somebody left a white walking stick on the coach, and it was in the lost and found for a while. And somebody bet me that I wouldn't actually take over a bus from another driver with sunglasses and a white stick. So I did. And funny enough, I got roasted for that by management. I don't know why, but
I have no idea why they would be upset about that.
it was well worth it for the looks on some of the people's faces.
Brilliant.
Oh, dear. Never mind. You've got to
Like
have a
it.
laugh, haven't you?
Cool. Coming towards 2 hours. Thanks for sticking with me, anybody that's still in the chat.
I've wasted away. I need food. Food.
But this is the last bit.
It looks great, actually. The wood
It
looks
does.
fantastic.
It is very pretty wood.
Yeah.
Shame it's
If
going on
Brian,
fire
if
afterwards.
if this had been Brian's live, I would have said that's 2 hours I won't get back.
Thanks,
I
Mike.
wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say it for you, Pete, because
And
we're
I'm
mates.
contemplating sending you an invite to this evening.
Just contemplate on.
Well, do you know what, Brian? There's that saying that too many cooks spoil the broth, right? But in
Very
your
true.
case, it's too many earworms spoil my bowl.
I don't care. It's all about fun. And
I
wood
think-
turning
I
to me, wood turning to me, it should just be fun. It's not.
Totally.
I'm not making. I'm not trying to make money out of it. I'm just having fun doing it.
Yeah, if it becomes a chore, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I like doing what I do. I like to try and be creative. I'm not always that successful, but hey.
Okay, my foot's a bit too tight. I can't get the damn thing apart now. There we go. I'll turn the extractor off a minute. So here you have a bud vase, which is a box, or a bowl and a funnel, depending on how you want to look at it.
A bowl and a funnel, yeah.
I like that
Be a pretty
idea.
match there somewhere.
Actually, quite a good
Lo-
little idea.
It's
I
a
like
lovely
it,
bit of
yeah.
wood as well. Lovely bit of wood as well.
It's going to become a thing, Pete.
Yeah.
It is. Multifunctional thing.
Yeah, it's quite fun actually. I said I wasn't going to do that. I was just going to make the bud vase, and then when Steve came up with that, I thought, well, I should make a box instead.
As
I
well.
thought, nah, I want to make a bud vase, so I'll do both.
It's brilliant. Pretty good.
A box
Yeah.
vase.
Keep your drugs
Well,
in
a
there,
bud
stick your plant
box.
in the top, and maybe
It's
on
a
there.
bud box.
Yeah,
There you
bud
go
box.
then. Thanks everybody for
all-
coming in.
You could always cheat a little bit, Pete, and put a little bit of the Oasis stuff in the inside the box for
Yeah.
sticking your bud through into. That would save it falling over.
Bring my
Sounds like
earworms
a
back
good idea.
in. And thanks to my earworms, and to Ruby, who's had to leave because she had an appointment.
This, I'm drinking
I
water.
did tell Ruby I was just doing a bud vase and it'd only be an hour. But yeah, overrun.
You lied to Ruby. Oh,
Ideas
much
changed.
trouble are you in?
Well, I didn't know I was going to do a box at the time. It wasn't a lie because it was true at the time.
Fair enough.
But
I
yeah, it's
I
quite an
think-
interesting little fun project to do.
Was
The jam chuck to hold the top rather than have a more a tenon on the both ends as you would normally do with a box. It was fun to do, and yeah, it's what it is.
Very nice.
It is what it is, and it's a lovely piece.
So thanks everybody in the chat. Thanks to my earworms. It's goodbye from Mike.
Cheers, everybody. Take care. Have a good week.
Goodbye from Steve.
See you later.
Goodbye from Brian.
It's goodbye from me, and I'll see you later.
And goodbye
hope.
from me. Thanks for coming in, guys. Cheers.